There are many things that we want to get done in life, but that we just struggle to do. It's not necessarily that we lack the motivation to do so, but we struggle to follow through on these things. We start strong, but after the initial enthusiasm, our efforts start to fade and become inconsistent. Whatever area you're tackling, it could be physical or mental well-being, the skills you need to develop at work, getting that new business idea off the ground. You could benefit from adopting the amazing power of habits. It could be said that there are really only two reasons we do something. We do it because we make a conscious decision to do it, or we do it because it's a habit. This morning, my alarm went off at 5 a.m. and I immediately switched it off and got out of bed, grabbed my clothes I'd set aside the previous night and went into the bathroom. All of this happened out of habit. It's my habit. On a weekday, this is the routine that I follow. Whilst I'm in the bathroom, I have a shower, I dry myself, I clean my teeth, I brush my hair. All of these things are happening by habit. I don't have to think about them, they just happen automatically, and I would instantly notice if a step was missed. It's the same with driving to the office. Most of this is a habit. I have a greater awareness of what is going on around me so that I can react to other traffic, but I don't think about the mechanics of how to drive my car. It just happens. When I get to the office, make my habitual morning cup of coffee, and sit down to work, I start deciding what work do I want to do today? What should I prioritize? What have I been putting off? What am I dreading? And can it wait until another day? Now, suddenly, actions are a bit harder to take than they were before, especially if I'm going to work on anything that I am experiencing some resistance towards working on. What's changed? All of the decisions I made up to this point have just happened. There's been no resistance to doing anything. I never for 1 second considered skipping my shower this morning, but now here I am finding it harder to start taking actions on things that I know I need to do. The difference is I've moved from habit actions to conscious actions. Actions that are habits just happen. Actions that are conscious decisions often require more effort. Can you relate to this? Just think about how many things you procrastinate over in your life, putting off that conscious decision to take action for some reason. Imagine if you could move more of these actions into the habit space instead of the conscious action space. How much more productive could you be? How much better could your life be? Fortunately, it's relatively easy to form new habits. That might surprise you, as I'm sure many of you have experienced failure at trying to adopt a new habit in the past. I certainly have, many times, until I understood the right way to go about doing it. You see, the problem is, whenever we want to do something different in our lives, make a change, we go at it with boundless enthusiasm to start with, and take on too much. We have a natural resistance to change, which we can overcome with initial enthusiasm. But as that enthusiasm fades, so the change we are trying to introduce can become overwhelming, and we fall back on our previous behaviors. There's the failed diets, the abandoned exercise regime, the daily meditation that you last did 3 months ago, the project at work that just never got finished, the new idea that never really made it out of your mind, let alone onto the drawing board. All of these changes abandoned. Not because of a conscious and considered decision not to pursue them, but usually down to a surrender to our previous patterns and a false acknowledgement that maybe you're just not the type of person that can make these changes. I'm sure at least one of these examples resonates with you. So what went wrong? Well, just as habits are an incredibly powerful force for good, they are also a powerful hindrance to change. For every new habit that you want to introduce, an old habit needs to be replaced. So for a diet, a new eating pattern has to replace your old eating pattern. An exercise regime has to replace whatever you would have been doing instead of exercising. Even taking on some new change project at work, that project is replacing the other work that you normally do, that you know how to do. You see, habits are so powerful, not only because they make it easier to do things, but because when we try to do something outside our habits, they try to pull us back to our regular habit, and that pull can be very strong. The challenge we face is looking at the habits that we have fostered in our lives and deciding which habits benefit us and which of them limit us, and work to replace those limiting habits with new ones that allow us to expand. So, if a habit is a strong routine that our mind will actively try to force us to perform and will resist deviation, how do we go about introducing a new habit? The answer is carefully. Habit forming should not be about boundless enthusiasm and radical change. That's the kind of shock to your system that your existing habits will rally against and try desperately to pull you back into line. Instead, a stealthier approach is required. To build a new habit, you've got to sneak up on your existing habits and make subtle changes, small enough that they don't notice you're trying to change your routine. Before we take a look at an example, can I ask you to click the like button below if you're enjoying this video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already to make it easier to find our videos in the future. If you click the bell icon, YouTube will notify you whenever we release a new video. Thanks so much. It really helps us to know that this is the type of content that you enjoy. So, on to an example. Suppose you wanted to introduce a daily meditation routine into your life. With the stresses of modern life seeming to get worse and worse, this is something many people are starting to turn to in order to improve their mental health and well-being. It's something that Rachel is preparing a video on as an introduction to those not familiar with the benefits of meditation. Typically, meditation involves taking time to relax your body and mind, taking time out of your day just to be with yourself and turn your gaze inwards. It's not uncommon for people to meditate for 20 to 30 minutes every day as part of their practice. But if you try to adopt a habit like this right from the beginning, going from 0 to hero in session 1, the chances are you'll never keep it up. Your existing habits will pull you back to your previous routine. The stealth approach is to decide a small starting step that you can take which won't upset your current habits. The first thought is to consider, if you were to adopt a meditation routine, where would you fit it into your day? If you want it to be a habit, then you're going to need to set aside some time every day to do it. For this example, let's say you're going to do it every day before you eat lunch. To meditate, you're probably going to need a quiet place that you can be in order to focus. You identify a room at work you can go to at lunchtime, and a quiet room at home you can move to at the weekends. And let's say your normal routine is to eat lunch at your desk at work and in front of the TV at home. Remember, the stealth approach. Your first actions might be that before you have your lunch, you go to the room that you are going to meditate in and sit down for a moment. Then you return back to your desk or the TV and have your lunch as normal. It's such a small and non-threatening action. It's not something your habits are going to rally against. Now, perhaps you do that for a few days, building up the habit of going to this room and sitting down before lunch. The next step might be to sit there just a little bit longer each day. Maybe you start with only 30 seconds, then you start increasing it slowly to a minute, to 2 minutes. Now, as you're finding yourself in that room every day anyway, and are sitting there waiting for the time to pass, maybe you could start to fill that time with some meditation. You're already sitting there quietly anyway. And so you gradually start to take time away from one habit and give it to another new one. And using the stealth approach, your old habits don't notice that it is happening, so they don't rally against it. If ever you find it difficult to do your new habit, you experience some resistance to doing it, it's probably your old habits realizing what is happening. That's the cue that you are going too fast. Slow down, maybe take the change a step back and keep trying. Doing it this way, you will eventually have created a habit that will stick. In this example, meditation will become a daily practice that your mind will want to do and will actually push you to do over doing other things which are not habits. More importantly, you will have developed this new habit without needing continuous enthusiasm, effort, and willpower. You can make anything you want into a habit. It just requires a little thought, a little creativity, and a stealthy approach to adopting it. In writing and researching for this video, it really made me take a look at some new habits that I'm interested in introducing, particularly in the areas of health and focusing on what matters. The stealth approach to habit forming will be what I will be using to implement these over the coming months. What habits would you like to adopt that you think the stealth approach would be good for? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Sometimes though, you don't have the time to develop a habit, even though they are the best way of changing your behaviors. You just need to get something done. Well, if that's the case, we're preparing a video for this very eventuality within the next few weeks. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and that it will help you to make positive changes in your habits. And remember, sometimes just one thing is all it takes. See you on the next one.